Well, hello, everyone. This is David, the long lost grandson, son, brother, and friend. Saying hi again after, gosh, 3, 4 months of silence. So sorry about that. um, it's mostly been just working on my first chapter and stuff. And actually, no, it's even a bit more pragmatic than that. I guess I've been kind of like stuck in this mind that I have to get the photos off my phone, put them on my computer, organize them into a nice little slideshow so I can tell you about like when I went to Burgos, for instance, with the other Fulbright people, or when I went to Guadalajara. And that's just been rife with technical difficulties. I think my phone is definitely at the point where I just need to format it. Like it's just very difficult to get it to recognize the flash drive. I have to reset my computer and my phone numerous times and reset the connection several times. And even when I can only get like 20 or so out of the 1,000 photos that I have on there. So I'm going to keep looking into solutions for that. So um, that's that. I'm going to try and. This is actually the second time I'm doing this because my first time was 10 minutes long. So I'm going to try to be pretty quick with things. I'm still part of this musical group that meets once a week on Thursdays. We had a parade at the start of Lent, which was fun. Um, it's good. I've enjoyed playing. I kind of am getting like a bit tired of the music since it feels like we're practicing again and again the same amount of the songs. And I practiced it like for the first 2 or 3 weeks when I joined this, and it was good. But I kind of feel like I've put more effort into learning the pieces than most of the other people. So it's fine. I'll stick it out, but for the time being. But it's not quite as much fun as it was. It's nice to be playing, but I think I'd like to find potentially a band that's a bit more serious about things. I've also, through a friend of a friend, been doing some freelance, not even translating, just like freelance reading stuff out loud with my glorious North American accent, and I get paid, for like I forget how much it actually is. Since I did all this work, the guy said, "Give me your bank information so I can deposit it in," which is standard practice in Spain. Don't worry, and I kind of haven't done that yet, which is like very much me. I will do 95% of a job and then like just kind of like put out the 5% because it's mostly done. Anyway, that's not at all what I'm doing with my dissertation, so don't worry about that. But I bet you're all wondering, hey, how's my dissertation? When will I be done? All these questions that doctoral students writing our dissertations that we just love to hear. um, well, I'm still working on my first chapter. I sent a revised draft to them way back in January. Everyone was busy. I was busy. I don't know what I did for those months. No, actually, I do know what I did for those months. I went back to reading primary sources, which was good. I mean, it's frustrating at the same time. I think that there's people that just have a really great memory for these things, and me, I need to reread things like read a play once and then go back and read it again to pick more things up out of it, or sometimes even a third time, as I've done with a few texts. Anyway, so then I got some feedback, and the two people that saw it agreed that I needed to do a lot of work. And in retrospect, after seeing all the things that they said that I needed to do the work on, it made a lot of sense, and it was just one of those things where you don't know what's wrong with it until someone else kind of tells you, and then it seems really obvious. So I've been fixing it since then. The fixes have included doing a lot of like research groundwork, and that's kind of been what's taking me the time, as well as taking a break to go do some tourism in Chicago, and before that, a week-long thing of writing the conference paper, which went well. Sorry I didn't get to see you, Grandpa. I regret that, but next time for sure. Definitely next time. Um, so right, and I guess I'm just trying to think what I was. Oh, right. And before that, there was like applying for this scholarship, which I'm hoping to get next year, which will fund me and keep me from having to teach unless I want to. Which I'll want to a little bit, but my time will be much better used just continuing to do the research and everything else that I'm doing. I'm kind of hoping that it'll allow me to spend significant time, if not all of next year, in Spain. Um, like I've just been so single-mindedly working on this first chapter that I haven't really taken advantage of the professional contacts that I made here. So it's something that I do need to do. And as my time here is kind of dwindling down, I just feel like if I have all of next year where I can just be a lot more disciplined about meeting with these professors and talking to them and finding a way to, get them to include me in things, which is kind of the difficulty. If I find a way to do that, I'll be very well rewarded. But anyway, it's just there's just been preparing for next year since I don't have anything too concrete. So applying for jobs, applying for scholarships, other things to try and make next year work out. Um, some good news. I think most of you guys know this at some point, but I won a crazy government scholarship to go learn Turkish in Azerbaijan. Now, why Azerbaijan, you ask? Suspect strongly that the U.S. government doesn't want to send students to Turkey since, unfortunately, the governor over there, or the president over there, is showing increasingly authoritarian signs. And there was an attempted coup, and there was like a lot of unrest, and I'm pretty sure now, as a result of this referendum, which was supposed to give him even greater executive power, um, there'll probably be more unrest, especially since the opposition is contesting that, there's a lot of voter fraud going on there. So anyway, so they're sending us to Azerbaijan, which, apart from an increasingly totalitarian tendency, has been pretty stable and calm for quite a while. So I'm looking forward to it. It's really kind of a blessing. I've told a couple of people this already. But when I was in Istanbul, I just kind of had this sense of like, this is as far east as I'll go in my life. I feel like I'm, ready to go back, live in the US for the most part, and like, have a nice quiet life, hopefully as a professor somewhere, and maybe stop traveling, apart from like occasionally going to Spain whenever I have a good reason to and whenever I have the money. So it's a blessing to get to go even further east to Azerbaijan, which, where is it, you're asking? It's on the coast of the Caspian Sea, south of Russia, north of Iran. The capital city is Baku, which is where I'll be staying. And it's just, it's cool. Like I'd encourage you to look at pictures if you get the chance. But it's just a really really nice looking city, very very modern. It's on the beach, so I'm looking forward to that. And the process, all of the follow up work that I've had to go since they gave me the reward has been kind of like going off in two different directions. One is that it's very, very like rules driven. I cannot leave the country, even if there's wedding, even if I'm going to present a conference. Cannot leave the country. I have to ask permission, for instance, if I even want to leave the city. They discourage me from having visitors, from other countries. I'm only allowed to speak English. Oh, sorry, not allowed to speak English. Only allowed to speak, I think, Turkish with my classmates. So I mean, it's very very excessive and rural heavy in that sense. On the other hand, I had a friend who told me about this, and her Turkish was just phenomenal. She, I think studied even less than I did, and she just did, had an incredible fluency and vocabulary. So, I think that the government is trying to make it as completely immersive as an experience as they possibly can. So that's why they're doing all the rules, and it's been kind of fun. I had to write a little letter in Turkish introducing myself to the family. I had to send them pictures. I had to fill out this information like, what do I do on weekends? What's my ideal study setting? Do I want a house with like kids or just adults? I said mostly just adults. How do I feel about pets? Do I work out? Yes. They had a place where I could say, please put me right on top of a gym. So I mean, it's good. They also aren't allowing me to do any research there, which well, we'll see. I won't do any research. I might do just a small smidge of dissertation writing because you never really stop. But I'm looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward to it. It promises to be a very calm summer, and I think in a way maybe kind of a summer that'll be good for me, recharging my batteries in a sense. Although I have to say, really, the time in Chicago and the time at home was like really, really relaxing. It just occurred to me several times that I'd gone 3 or 4 days without thinking anything about my dissertation, and it was the longest time I'd gone without thinking about it in quite a while. So, gosh, it's been kind of like a long few days. So I'm having a bit of trouble remembering how much I actually said about my dissertation and how much I said in the previous video, which is one good reason why you should only do one take rather than two. So forgive me if I'm like reviewing all of this, but um, the main issue with what I'm doing with my dissertation is I've got one more source that I need to go back, read some more articles, summarize those articles, and put any useful quotes into them. Then after all that, I'm going to reread the whole thing out loud and make sure that it smooths over to sorry, that it reads well together, that I don't have any holes in my argument. There is still one really big missing piece of my argument, and I'm just still trying to figure out of like how to explain or how to explain how to fill that in. It's the sort of thing that for this particular chapter, I've had to forge a lot of ground on my own. My second chapter, which is already written, will go a lot faster since it's a lot of things that people have talked about, and I'm just building on it. It'll be just kind of filling in some holes, very, very small holes, and things that I already know how to fill in pretty well. So the second chapter will go much easier, but I have to do this first chapter first, obviously. And there's still like a big gap that I don't really know. So my hope is that as I'm rereading it out loud, the idea will just come to me, and I'll, be able to have a coherent, if this, then this, if A, then B, et cetera, all the way to my final conclusion. So I feel good about it. I feel much better. Again, I'm forgetting if I talked about this like a few minutes ago, but I just had to go in. They didn't like it, and I just had to fill in some things that I wasn't aware of. But in retrospect, I've never written a first chapter of a dissertation or a dissertation before, so I'm it was pretty hard on my I was like pretty frustrated with myself in the beginning, but I think I've come to get back to a state where I'm okay with it and ready to keep moving and keep going with it. It's just always a matter of willpower to stop researching, because you just read one thing and it directs you to three other interesting things, and you always have this hope that you'll one day find this quote that says exactly what you needed to say, and it'll fill in the gap in your argument that you have. And to find that one quote, you have to read a lot of different things to get there, and sometimes you can't, and sometimes that it means you have to cobble together a lot of other arguments to make the point that you want. Anyway, so I'm kind of rambling and talking in circles, but that's a general idea. One other thing I wanted to talk about is this weekend. One good reason for me to finish my first chapter by within the next few days, and I really feel like it doesn't need more than that. But anyway, I always say that is this Friday. I'm going to this festival of Moros and Cristianos, which is a lot of fun. It's Spain was invaded in 711 by these Muslim inhabitants of present-day Morocco, and during the subsequent 700 years up until 1492, Spain, the Christians in Spain were slowly moving southward, retaking retaking the land. And of course, it's a complex time. Like, Muslims would ally with Christians to fight other Muslims. Christians would ally with Muslims to fight other Christians. And of course, they'd fight each other. So that sort of thing. But anyway, this is a really, really old festival that, deals a lot with precisely what I do. This question of how does the West, how does Spain view, Muslims, and, specifically Moors from Morocco and that sort of thing. So I'm really looking forward to it. Put in a lot of work beforehand, and it'll be a nice, relaxing, and engaging weekend. So anyway, hopefully I'll be able to figure out how to share photos with that by then. I've suppose the desperate measure is I just open my phone, take out the little SD card, and plug it into my computer. Anyway, we'll see how that goes. Anyway, so thanks for tuning in. Sorry that this was so long, but hey, it's been 3 or 4 months, so I'll be better about this now. Maybe going back to weekly, if not weekly, often. So love you all, miss you all, and talk to you guys soon. So bye.